Chapter 16 is all about persuasive speaking, and that's our next speech. So let's take a look at this together. Persuasive speeches aim to change the audience. You want to change the way they think, the way they feel, maybe what they believe in, or how they act. But it's all about change. Now don't get discouraged at the end of your speech if no one jumps out of their seat to sign up, but remember, change is gradual. And so maybe you have just laid the foundation. Don't forget to go back to chapter 1, consider the transactional model. You need to take your audience into consideration when planning this speech and think about how they already feel and what they already believe in considering your topic. In persuasive speaking, there are 3 different types of appeals that we will use to win the audience over. The first one is the ethos, the speaker credibility. And speakers can come in with some initial credibility, and then they can earn some derived credibility throughout the speech. And then we can consider both of those when thinking about the overall credibility at the end of the speech. And also, a great way to earn speaker credibility with your audience is to find some common ground to try to identify with your audience and to bridge the gap between speaker and audience. And then we can move on to the pathos appeal, the emotional reasons. Now, this is the topic of our discussion board this week, so I won't stay here long. And I'll also remind you there is a great table in your book that you can refer to guide you on that discussion board. But I'll move on to the logos, and that is the rational, the logical reasons. Now, the logos is what you focus on primarily in Comp 1 when you write your persuasive essay. And we should be studying this together, so if you are enrolled in Comp 1, you will be on the same track as we look at the persuasive speech and the persuasive essay. So let's move on. In the logos, you will study inductive reasoning and deductive reasoning, and looking at your topic, whether you start from general and get to specific, or you start with a specific theory and then you go general. The Tolman model of reasoning shows us that we need to make a claim, an assertion about your topic, and then you have to back that up with the grounds, the evidence, the research that you have done. Warrants help draw connections between the grounds and the claim, and then qualifiers narrow down your topic so that it is attainable, your claim is attainable, and your topic is narrow enough for the time limit. These speeches, again, are 5 to 8 minutes, so you do not have long, and you do need to narrow those down. And a good speaker will always go ahead and make the rebuttal. The good speaker knows the opposing side's argument, and they'll go ahead and talk to the audience about that and tell them why their position is better. And in doing this, you start to inoculate your audience as to the topic so that when they are approached with the opposing side, they have already heard it from your viewpoint, and that is way more powerful. When looking at the logos appeals, you have to be careful not to fall victim to fallacies. And this is more on the speaker's end when you're in the audience, to be aware of the different tactics used by speakers, some of them not very ethical, and your book goes through all of those, but you need to be aware of those. There is a new organizational pattern for persuasive speaking. You can go back and use one of the ones we've already learned, and those will be very helpful, and the book goes through a nice demonstration giving you examples of how to use those with persuasive speaking. But there's a new one, and this one is called the motivated sequence pattern, and it starts with your attention getter, and then you go ahead and discuss the need using the evidence, the research that you have used to identify the need. Then you move on to your solution, and then you show the audience how to visualize the result if they follow your solution. And then finally, you give your call to action and let your audience know what they need to do with the material that you've presented. You might find this pattern helpful for your persuasive speech. We'll be starting to look at those topics very, very soon. Let me know if you have any questions.